Well, the common world of business is full of sharks, and when I jumped into it, I was really like a little sheep, very innocent, very dumb, like a Westerner getting lost in a ghetto area of some kind of African city. It's the last place you want to be, and it's not for you, and you better learn how to navigate. In other words, so that's why I took the time to study. I'm really a student, so I took the time to study. I also dipped my feet in the water, got bit, learned to put shoes, got bit, learned to put boots, etc., etc. I had to learn because you can't imagine. And people are very good, and some entrepreneurs are extremely good, and they're very good at manipulating people. It's not necessarily negative. I'm just saying they can manipulate you, they can play with your emotions, they can play with your fears, they can create hype. There's all kinds of strategies to manipulate the psyche of a human being in order for him or her to consume, which is technically, at the end of the day, everything you see around in the modern world. Is how do I influence a person to make them do what I want so that I can profit? It doesn't necessarily need to be for their own good. Then there's some other entrepreneurs who influence you, but they feel this is what they justify to themselves, but it's also good for them. So everybody has their mindset and how they navigate through life and what they make themselves believe. But I had to learn all of that. And I'm telling you, I was really like a little innocent boy in the ocean of sharks and some fishes of business. And I had a lot to learn. I lost a lot. Eventually I learned how to succeed. I was shocked by what people are doing. The lack of integrity. People are thieves, in so many different ways. This was all through my process. It's kind of like my way of discovering the grown-ups world. But I worked in corporations, so I had a sense of this to a certain extent. I didn't go so deep, but I had a sense of it. Then when you go to it's the grown-ups world. Then I went to, as an entrepreneur, dealing with grown-ups and to see what they're doing and how people are doing. This is not all the time. There are some people who are clean, professionals, respectful. They respect themselves, they respect others, they respect the boundaries, they respect their commitments and their contracts. But I've noticed that a lot of people, they don't care. They want to hustle, take as much as they can, as fast as possible. And not everybody is committed, not everybody is passionate. So then I had to learn how to find the right people to work with. Not just in my own team, but when you want to hire a contractor. So this is no disrespect to this dude. So at some point I was doing a website. I had a dude in India doing the website. So it was cheaper. It was a living hell. This is not anything to do with Indian website people. I'm talking about that specific person. But the idea was I'm going to save money dealing with the guy in India. But it created stress for me. Because everything he was doing was not done well. Because he just wants to get it done as fast as possible. So every time I have to make a comment, then he has to get annoyed, then redo it, not do it. It's like, so it ended up sucking energy. At the time I didn't have so much money, but then in retrospect and then you learn, I'd rather pay extra money and get it done right. Because it sucks less energy, sucks less of my attention. So to discover how people are and the psychology of people through business. Because an individual's personality is expressed through their business and how they do business. If you understand what I mean. Who you are is expressed through anything you do. So who you are is how you fuck. Who you are is how you run. Who you are is how you make food. So you just observe a person and their behavior and you have a sense of who they are. So through business you get to discover people and their psychology, but via the interface of business. And it was disappointing. Maybe I'm a little too idealistic, but so then you learn. But I guess this is part of learning about life and learning to navigate through this and understand. Okay, and then as your business starts to grow, this also I learned. So now you start to enter the mafia. So every business has a field, right? So let's say you're in book sales. So you're selling, at the time you had to be published, then self-publishing started to happen. And then you start to understand that there's like you have to get big enough to understand that there's a racket, or conglomerates, or organizations that have been there for a long time, who are making a lot of money, have created their pathways of distribution, and they have like a certain kind of dominion. And now as you start to grow, and you start to want to grow in business, and then they kind of hold, and they're like, block the door. And you realize, okay, so if I want to get through, then you have to compromise. So I wasn't one to want to compromise. You can't say this, can't say this, can't say this, cut this, cut this, cut this, maybe we'll consider it, but then we'll take all of this and you'll get this in return. Oh, this is a fucking this is a hustle, you're screwing me over. Yeah, but in return you'll get this and this and this. No, that's the kind of person I was. Well, I am, but I'm talking about books. No, I'm gonna self-publish my own thing. So when you start to want to do everything on your own because you don't want to deal with mafia, or like conglomerates, groups that are already established that think or feel that they run things, then you got to do things on your own. And as you start to grow, then you get into the politics of things, which is also part of growing in business. And people, again, politics, you think people are of integrity. They're not. The first opportunity they have to backstab you. This is not systematic, but very often they will, especially if what you offer as a product is superior than somebody else's, and you grow in power. That means every step you grow in power, your product now highlights the fact that other products are inferior. And now they get nervous because now you start to take share, and you don't even have to be aggressive. But when I was younger, I was more aggressive. But you start to highlight their incompetence. They had no competition, in other words. So now they feel uncomfortable with you because you start taking their shares of the market. And people would rather come to you because you offer a genuine service. It's higher quality. It's just superior. It's a better car for the same fucking price. So then they get nervous. But now they've been established for a longer time, have more connections. So the first opportunity they're going to have, they're going to try to go for your legs, go for your kneecap, trying to trip you up, to slow you down. Anyways, all this to say, this is part of learning about business. Some of you already know this, of course. Some of you are considering about business. This is the game. And when you go through the process, you make every single possible mistake. You know, it's a long way. It's a challenging way. If you have a teacher and a mentor, it's much better. And when you're less zealous and you're more conscious of the reality, you don't live in a fantasy of what you want things to be, but what they are, then you also make more strategic moves with more intelligence, considering the future of what awaits you. Because when you're young and you're dumb and you don't understand that things grow, but eventually you deal with that person, you should prepare for this now. Then by the time you get to that place, you're not prepared.